terms of anything in South Africa.
What's good, folkers? What's good? Snapzilla Gorilla, aka Snap Turtle, aka The Definition, coming at y'all with another short video. Just got through doing some sparring and training with a couple people. Feeling good. Yeah, just keeping that work going. Keep working. That's all you can do. Keep working. Keep at it. Don't slow up. Don't take a break. Don't take breaks because they ain't taking breaks. You feel me? You got to keep moving. You got to keep it pushing. They don't take no days off. We can't take no days off. We always got to be thinking about our next move, and we got to think 2 or 3 moves ahead of them. So always stay on top of your game. Of course, I'm putting myself at a great disadvantage. Talking about things on YouTube like that, but some people have to be the ones to come out and speak on shit on behalf of other people. Spread the message and things like that. And yeah, we putting ourselves out there. The real ones. Then you have those who manufacture things. You manufacture all the trouble. I haven't had any issues. And if people are really watching you and planning moves against you in the upper echelon levels, the people that are, the overseers, the masters, right? If they're really plotting moves against you, you're not gonna know about it. They're not gonna do little small shit here and there, and they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna send YouTubers after you. Not no regular everyday YouTubers. So really, and that's how they surprise you. They come when you least expect it. So you gotta stay on your P's and Q's. And I wanted to specifically talk about a possible government psyop. Okay. Many of you might have heard about this cat named Alex. He goes by Whiskey Warrior 556, and apparently, he's a veteran, and he lives in New York. And New York has red flag laws. They have very restrictive gun laws. Some of the most strict gun laws in the country. Like, you can't even leave your house with any weapon unless you get some type of special permit, which is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But that's the people gave them that power in New York. The people in New York gave them that power. The people in California gave the government that power. They gave them that power over them. So they're gonna do what they want. Anyway, so this Whiskey Warrior 556 is a veteran, okay? And the red flag laws was used against him by the police, who came to his house and wanted him to surrender and all this other stuff. And the media portrays this a 10-hour dangerous standoff, but the guys on Instagram Live showing you, oh, I'm not armed. You know what I'm saying? These people are just doing too much. I mean, they were doing too much. It was BS. And ultimately, the dude came out, and nothing came of it, from what I understand. I have to look more into it. It's been a while since I looked into the story. This happened last night. But I want to point out some things. I heard other people talk about this, but I'm gonna point out some things that other people aren't talking about. And the fact is, this guy's a veteran. Okay, he's a veteran who had the red flag law used against him, and you got the media talking about he has PTSD. Where did they get that information? Where'd they get that information? They're just declaring shit. You got the police chief talking about, oh, this guy has mental problems, and then they said there was some domestic dispute. What's the domestic dispute? A domestic dispute can be something as small as the neighbor yelling at your house and calling the police because neighbors don't have relationships anymore. They can't go check. You can't go check on your neighbor. Anyway, that's what happened with Tatiana in Texas. The neighbor called the police on her, and they showed up and killed her. If the neighbor had some concerns about his neighbor, that he should have went over there. But we don't have relationships with our neighbor anymore. Anyway, dude is a veteran. And what have I said before about these red flag laws? What have I said before about the TAPS Act and the federal red flag law, which is what they're, that shit's going through Congress right now. They have federal red flag laws, legislation going through Congress. And guess what? The Republicans are adopting this shit. The Republicans, one by one in the House, are endorsing this federal red flag law. That, coupled with the TAPS Act, which has bipartisan support going all the way down the line, even 50-50 split bipartisan support, and then they give us a dog and pony show. They give us the bread and circus of this fucking impeachment hearing. So really, what's going on? Anyway, what have I said before about who will be the major target of the TAPS Act and the red flag laws? Veterans. And they want to target veterans because we are no longer part of the machine. We're no longer part of the Green Machine. We're no longer part of the Marine Corps. We're no longer part of the Air Force. We're no longer under their control to a degree. We are weapons of war that have been set free to go on about a business. Going about a business to do what? To maintain our training. To purchase and stockpile on firearms. Right? To train. To go to the range. To train others. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a freedom-loving group, the best thing you can have in your group is a veteran. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trained in the tactics. And they were trained in assault tactics. They were trained in defensive tactics. They were trained in weapons tactics. Some of us were trained in hand-to-hand combat. You know what I'm saying? A very simple system that's all about breaking down the enemy as quickly as possible. It's not no fancy shit. But this is the point. There's a reason they're pushing this PTSD shit. Let me tell you what happens. All right. In information I'm giving you as a veteran, as an individual who goes through the VA system. Let me tell you what they do. All right. If you tell them, let's say you were in combat or something like that, or your unit went to combat, or whatever the case may be, and people that passed away during your time there, guys that teammates, platoon mates, squad mates that you've gotten close with, because that's what happens, right? You gotten close to them, and so you form a brotherhood, you form a camaraderie, right? They die in combat, you survive, you do the 21 gun salute for them back at the house, or back in the rear, and you feel sad, you have this survival's guilt situation going on. What the hell's going on here? So, what they're going to do when you go see the doctor, now we're talking about maybe a nurse practitioner or a physician, right? We're not talking about a psychiatrist. You go see the doctor and you tell them, and they're going to start asking you questions about your time in the service. Oh, have you ever been in combat? Have you ever had any teammates or squad mates or platoon mates go into combat? They'll start asking you questions like that. And they'll start asking you how you feel about squad mates, teammates, platoon mates dying during combat. How do you feel about that? How does that make you feel? You tell them, well, of course you're going to be sad, right? You're going to feel bad because you survived this shit. You didn't die. you have survivor's guilt, whatever the case may be, or you've seen some shit that kind of, of course, we're all human, right? We're going to see some shit. We might see some shit that'll twist us up a little bit. Twist us up. It'll twist us up. Point blank, period. You see things that are going to skew your perception on the world, and this man's army, or this man's Marine Corps, or the Air Force, that is going to change your perspective on the country and on the government and other things. People that you roll with. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on after a while in Iraq and Afghanistan, where soldiers are doing all kind of horrific shit to the civilian population in these other countries, and it's because you start forming this hive mind, and the hive mind is controlled by the queen brain, and the queen brain wants you to do this and do that. You start falling into this mob mentality. You start participating in shit that you shouldn't be participating in, you know. So you're going to be kind of messed up in the head a little bit. You're going to have some type of trauma. But let me tell you what happens when you go to the VA. You're already out. You know, you're trying to cope with life. You go see the doctor. They're gonna tell you, if you're sad, that, oh, my teammates died, blah blah blah, got blew up by ID, whatever, and it was kind of devastating, and you know, it was sad having to go and, you know, fire a weapon 3 times, you know, in honor of their death, or in honor of their life, the life they lived, the service that they provided to the country. You're sad. These people are like your brothers. They're going to tell you, oh, you got PTSD, right then and there, right there in the doctor's office. And you're going to be like, you know, I don't really know about that. You know, you kind of think, you know, you dream, you have dreams about it. You know, you might have a nightmare every now and then, or maybe frequently, in regards to what might have happened to the people that you served with that might have died, or some of the other shit that you've seen, some of the horrific shit you've seen serving overseas and participating in a war that we shouldn't be fighting. You're going to have dreams. You're going to dream about it. You might have nightmares. You might wake up kind of in cold sweats. They'll tell you have PTSD. And what they'll do is, let's say you accept that. All right, I got PTSD. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to go into the system. All right? You're going to go into the system, and you're going to be encouraged to actually apply for a disability compensation based on PTSD. You can get 80% VA disability alone just for PTSD. So it's very tempting. Okay, I got PTSD. I get 80% of however much a month extra free money. So yeah, I'm gonna put myself out there as a cat with PTSD. But now you're in the system. Now you're in the system as a motherfucker with PTSD. And what did they do with this Alex character? It probably didn't take much to find out that he had PTSD. They went through some channels. They went through the VA. He's probably getting disability from the VA for PTSD because it sounded attractive when you went to go fill out all the information. Oh, do you have PTSD? Oh, yeah. The doctor said I had PTSD. Boom, you get PTSD, and then boom. Now you're in the system as a mentally disturbed veteran. A mentally disturbed veteran. Then what do? You start buying firearms, right? You buy T-shirts. You buy clothing. You go to the range. You're showing your shit off, right? You start putting yourself out there as this gun-loving veteran with PTSD. That's what they see. But I'm gonna tell you what they really see. That's what they're gonna tell the public. Oh man, you know, this guy he has some very dangerous leanings. You know, he had T-shirts with AK-47s and M16s on it. You know, he's talking about shooting and firearms and this and that, and he has PTSD. What they're really thinking is, this cat got out of the military. He's no longer part of the machine to that degree. He's a veteran, but he's no longer a soldier. He no longer has to follow our orders to the T, or he'll get in trouble. He's a civilian now. He's no longer 100% under our control. And he has all this dangerous training that we gave him. He knows our tactics. He knows how to use the weapons. He knows how to break them down. He knows how to clean and maintain them. He has leadership qualities, because that's what we taught him. He has leadership qualities. And one day in the future, when we really tighten down, put the screws on these people, he might even be able to form a resistance to what we have to come. And that's a problem. So, why am I saying all this? I'm saying that this is not a surprise to me. What happened to Whiskey Warrior 556? It's not a surprise. This is what I said was going to happen with these red flag laws. They're going to come after the veterans first and foremost. When they really ramp this shit up, if they make this shit federal and really ramp this shit up, they are going to come after the veterans first and foremost. And they're going to hit us hard. So we have to be careful about how we put ourselves out there as veterans. And to my veterans, in any state, red flag or no, do not, if you can help it, do not get yourself diagnosed with PTSD in the VA medical healthcare system. Do not, if you can help it. Now, if you really need the help, go ahead and go get it. But, I mean, if you don't really have any destructive behavior, you don't really feel like you're a danger to yourself or others, or you're not waking up and choking your wife out, you don't hear loud noises and all of a sudden you dive into the deck because you think somebody's shooting at you, you think you're back in Iraq or Afghanistan or Vietnam. If you don't really suffer from that type of shit, and you're just kind of sad that you lost people you served with, or you saw some shit that was disturbing and you're like, man, that's fucked up, and then you might have nightmares every now and then, or frequently for a period of time, every now and then, or you just being a human about the shit that you went through. You went overseas, and if you're infantry and you were forced into battle, you probably killed some people. You probably saw people die. Of course, it's gonna do something to your head to a degree. But does that mean that you shouldn't be able to keep and bear arms and be completely and 100% free? No. Like I said, if you really need the help, go and get the help. And if you can help it, and if you have private insurance that has nothing to do with the government don't have their hands on it, then, maybe get help through your private health care. If you really need to speak to somebody and talk to a psychiatrist, go that route. If you really need the help, I would say go that route first. Seek the help. I'm not saying if you have real PTSD and you are posing a danger to yourself and others, that's a different story than someone who enjoys their right to keep and bear arms and displays that shit on social media, or talks about freedom, true freedom, and talks about how the government is overstepping and how they witnessed this shit and how they're a part of it, how they were a part of it when they were in the military. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the freedom because you question the authority. No, it's not right. So yeah, what happened to Whiskey 556? It ended peacefully. right? If it was real. You know, believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. If it was real, it ended peacefully. Boom. That went out. That went on the way it did. Not so much for the guy in Baltimore in 2018 who was murdered by the police because he didn't want to give up his firearms because his niece or some shit got in an argument with him and she was being vindictive and petty. Anyway, so yeah, do not, if you're a veteran and you have private health care, do not go through the VA to seek help for any issues you might have dealing with what you saw when you served in combat or what you experienced or what you did. You know, because if you put yourself in the system with the VA that way, I mean, they can use that at any time to violate your rights. And that's what happened to this guy. I honestly think they said it was some domestic disturbance. There was no details on that. I think they just went on his social media, saw that he was a veteran, saw that he was out there training still, saw that, you know, maybe he has firearms or whatever the case may be, and said, hey, we got to go get this cat. This dude, you know what I'm saying? He's doing too much as a veteran, you know? And that's another thing. Be careful with what you put out there as a veteran who doesn't work for the government. So see, some veterans, they get out and they go work for the government. If you don't do that, if you went completely your own separate way, be careful what you put out there on social media about what you got, what you holding, and what type of training you're doing with what you're holding. Me, I decided to no longer own firearms in the state of California because it's just not worth it. You know, I know it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, but just for my family's sake, you know, if I lived in a more freer state, if I were in Arizona, oh man, it'd be on the cracking. Arizona, Texas, but you know, I live in Cali, and they don't like guns, and I ain't trying to have nobody run up in my house, so I'm putting this out there for the whole world to see and hear. I do not own firearms in the great state of California, and that's where I live. I live in California. I don't own firearms here. I don't suffer from PTSD. I don't have PTSD. Just so y'all know. I've not been diagnosed with PTSD. I've never sought treatment for PTSD. So, there you go there. Just letting y'all know. Don't let them try to convince you if something happens that I have PTSD or some shit. No, I do not have PTSD. I'm not suicidal. I don't own firearms in California. Okay? Now that we got that out the way, I could say to my fellow veterans or anybody, you know, but specifically the veterans, do not, if you can help it, seek treatment for PTSD or let them diagnose you with PTSD. Let me tell you what's up. Let me tell you what's going to happen. So you say you got PTSD, you know, through the VA. You tell them that. Are they going to set you up appointments with someone to talk? Yeah, the initial appointment after you've been diagnosed by your regular physician, they're going to set you up with an appointment with a psychiatrist or something like that. And then what happens then, you talk to them that one time, they go over why the physician thought you had PTSD. They'll ask you questions about your service. They'll ask you if you're sad. They'll ask if you have nightmares. They'll ask if you feel suicidal. They'll ask if you feel homicidal. They'll literally ask you if you feel like you want to kill somebody. Okay? So you go through all that. After that initial appointment, the next thing they do is give you meds. They'll give you some Prozac and other things. Okay? That's what they'll do. So they want to medicate you. That is their treatment protocol for veterans with PTSD, to medicate them. The very last resort is to actually speak to somebody about what you're feeling. They want to medicate you first. They want to drug you up. Okay? They want you drugged up. They want you dumbed up. They want you to... These drugs makes you very vulnerable to suggestion. Okay? These drugs that they give you open you up to all kind of suggestion, and they'll have you thinking that you're the most evil person on earth and all this other shit, and you'll feel bad, and the condition gets worse. You'll get worse. You'll get worse because you think that you're this bad guy who served in the military, and now you're too dangerous to be around anybody. You understand what I'm saying? And what ends up happening? Many of these veterans end up killing themselves. I think there was one year where, like, I want to say 30 veterans killed themselves within months, a couple months of each other. 30 or so veterans sitting in the parking lot, sitting at home, sitting in the parking lot of the VA hospital. Tired of being told, oh, you got to wait. Yeah, keep taking these meds. And they kill themselves. You really start to believe once they medicate you, right, that something is wrong with you and you're a danger. Don't do it. The last thing you want to do is take a drug when you feel like, you know, you're up here. You're not really that stable. You don't want that. You don't want that. Okay, seek real help. You're not going to get it through the VA. Not with PTSD. No, they'll drug you up. That's what they want to do. They want to drug you up. They want to dumb you down. They want to make you docile. They don't want you to resist. Stay up. Stay sober. That's why I don't smoke. That's why I don't drink. I gotta keep my head has to be clear 100% of the time. I decided that I will not cloud my judgment with substances. Don't do it. Anyway, that was just my 2 cents in regards to this Whiskey Warrior 556 situation. There probably was not really a domestic dispute. They probably saw him doing some shit online where he was being free to do what he wanted. He was, you know what I mean? And they don't like that. They don't want veterans out there who with freedom on their brain. They don't want veterans out there being free. They want veterans out there spreading the good word of the government, who will defend the government's actions. That's the type of veteran they love, because they know they can recall them back to service and get them back on the team. So if you leave the military, okay, if you leave the military and something happens and they decide to do the draft, right? If you're not 60 years old, they can still call your ass back. They'll call you back, you know? So 60 years old, that's the age limit from when, if they really want to bring your ass back in and you have, you know, and you don't have any serious medical conditions that can stop you from performing your job, 60 years old, they can bring your ass back. You understand what I'm talking about? So, anyway, much love to you guys. That's all I got for now. Veterans, please be careful about how you carry yourself out here in the world. For me, it's I'm probably on somebody's list already. I've been talking shit since 2005. It's too late for me. You know, that's a young man asked me that. He's like 17 years old, and he's a Facebook friend of mine. He asked me. I tell him, hey man, just be careful how you talk in this public platform, you know. And he said, well, what about you? You do this, do that, and do the third. I said, hey man, you know, I'm in my 30s. I'm a veteran. I'm already on somebody's list. I'm a veteran, you know, and I've been talking this shit, you know. It's too late for me. I'm already on somebody's radar, you know. But nothing has happened. Like, nothing has happened to me. Nothing's happened to my family. I haven't been gang stalked or none of that other shit that other people claim that it's happening to them. No, real shit. None of this happened to me. I mean, I'm not big enough. I don't even have 500 subscribers yet. You know, I'm not, you know, but I'm bringing this information to y'all for a reason. So please take heed to it. If you're a veteran, be extra careful, okay? Because you're already on their radar. And if you start being on that freedom shit, you're really going to be on their radar. And you're not going to know it because they're not going to put that out there like that. Not for you, all right? So much love. Peace.